Hello guys, this is Jan and I love to create fantasy maps, and today I want to talk to you about a program that allows you to create really cool fantasy maps, and the program is called Inkarnate. I've been using Inkarnate since 2017, but when it first came out it was a nice tool, but I didn't choose it above using Photoshop, because in Photoshop I've got a lot of freedom, and maybe you've seen my Photoshop maps, they're quite intricate. And Inkarnate just didn't give me the usability that I really wanted to create the fantasy maps. But guys, I've got early access to version 1.0, and this is a game changer, and I will show you why I think it is. So let's get started. This is the screen you see when you enter version 1.0, and when you create a new map, you can choose from different styles. I'm gonna create a fantasy world, and one thing that's really interesting is that you can now change your aspect ratios. So in the Netherlands, where I'm from, I want to use an aspect ratio that's related to the type of paper that I'm going to use when I print it. So I can choose A4 landscape, and then it is the exact size that I need when I want to print my picture. And what you can do is you can change your editing resolution. So this is the resolution that only changes the things you see on your screen, and not the exported image. So the exported image will be high resolution anyway, but if you've got a slow computer, you can choose to edit in a lower resolution. So yeah, your computer has an easier time handling this program. But I already opened a file, and here you see a list of the things that I think is really game-changing in this version of Inkarnate. One thing that I do have to say, it's not completely stable yet. It is early access, so I'm gonna save quite often just to make sure that the program doesn't crash or anything. It has happened in the past, but yeah, as long as you save every 10-20 minutes when you're working on your file, you should be fine. Well, we handled to choose the aspect ratio, and one thing that I really love about Inkarnate new function is the ability to use a roughness. So previously you could change your landscapes by using a round tool or using a grid tool, but now they added a function to add some roughness to your landmass, which allows you to create really cool and interesting shapes, especially like the coast. You can have some rough coastlines. So as you can see, it adds the roughness, and you can change the roughness to more fine if you want. Oh, this is the scale of the brush. This is the size of the roughness. So let's say I want a roughness of 5 instead of 8. It's gonna give a more fine edge. So let's quickly change this square block that I have in something that might resemble a landscape. This is also cool that you can like create these little islands just like that. And when making maps, I think it's really important to have some ability to add some randomness to your maps, because the real world is organic and has quite some randomness, or it might seem random, but things like erosion and things like that might give the idea of having quite some randomness to it. So just creating a quick landmass. Let's keep it like that. Alright, so that's really cool, the roughness brush. You can change the size, and in Photoshop I use a cloud filter a lot to add some randomness to my continents. But with this ability you can actually like just plop in some random blocks and see if you like the shapes. And if you don't, guys, now there is the option to undo, which was something that was really missing in the previous versions of Inkarnate. So yeah, just the ability to press Ctrl Z and undo your step is major. This function alone will make me choose this program a lot more. It's quite slow, but it's because I'm editing in the highest resolution possible. But we can undo. Lovely. The next thing that I want to show you is, let's say you have some mountains and some buildings. Let's zoom in. And maybe you want a building behind, or maybe you want this building to be in front. Normally you would have a lot of trouble selecting the object if it's very busy. So if you've got a lot of objects going on in your screen, it can be difficult to choose the right object. But now you can actually see where the object is related to the other objects, and you can choose to bring it in front or behind by pressing Ctrl F and Ctrl B, and you can give it like a Z value. So if you say these little objects that you have here are going to be on a Z value of -3 or minus, yeah, that's a -3. Then the objects with the Z value of -2 will always be in front of it, whatever you do. And if you decide to give it a Z value of -4, it will always be behind it, whatever you do. And just the ability to work in layers like this is so extremely useful. Maybe when you used Inkarnate, you've tried to make like a fortress using the walls, and or try to place some trees in front of the mountains and some trees behind. Let me show you with the trees. So let me choose a tree. So let's say I want this tree to be on the top of the mountain. That would be so annoying, but now I can see the pine tree is at -4, the mountains is -4. Let's bring it in front one, and now the pine tree will be on top of the mountain instead of behind the mountain. So that really helps. Just the ability to see. One thing that I wish they changed, and maybe they will, is the fact that you could just drag them. I don't think that's a possibility yet, that you can drag them around up or down. That would be even better, but this is already such a step forward. So that's the new selection tool and the ability to select things. Also you can choose, I only want to select, for example, the patterns. Oh, let's turn these guys up. Only the patterns, so it means that I shouldn't be able to select the mountain, but I am. Oh yeah, mountain is a pattern as well. Let's place an object that's not a pattern. So for example, so I think with a pattern they mean everything that has like multiple versions of it, like mountains, trees, the villages. But let's say this, let's place something cool, these compass rows. So in the selection tool, if I say I only want to be able to select the patterns, I won't be able to select this loose item, I won't be able to select the text. If I just want to be able to select stamps, I can't select anything except for the stamps, like this, and now I can only select text. So that's really helpful as well. The new selection tool is got a great upgrade. Alright, let's get rid of this compass rows or place it somewhere else. Oh. These guys go. So that's cool. We've got the new selection tool, and the next thing I want to show you is something that I think is really amazing, especially when you are making regional artwork. You've got these different styles. These are all the old icons for fantasy regional, but these are the new ones. And guys, just look at this. I'm gonna scale this guy up and bring it to the front. Look at that. These resolutions are crazy. The artwork is really, really beautiful. Oh, I accidentally deleted it, but now I can press Ctrl Z to remove it. Makes me happy. Let's move the text aside for a second and check out some of these assets. So this is so cool. Now you have this really high quality artwork and also high quality patterns. So for example, in the little villages that you used to make, you can now use these extremely high resolution versions of the houses and the cities. Let me change the city version. So extremely beautiful. The artist, I don't know who did this, but well done. Very, very pretty. So that's the high resolution artwork. One thing that I'm missing in the high resolution artwork, but I'm sure they'll add it before a version 1.0 officially comes out, because this is still the early access version, which you actually can join if you are a pro subscriber. You can check out the Reddit and you can apply for early access. One thing that I'm missing from this list is the actual ships. I use ships a lot, especially because I'm in a pirate campaign at the moment, and they are these shipwrecks, which are amazing. But the ones that I'm missing are the ships like, where are they? Where are they at? This one's. Yeah, I wish they had the HD versions of these. That would be great. High resolution artwork. The next thing I want to show you is the fact that you can use you have more possibilities with text. Let me just save this real quick, because it's not 100% stable yet. So when you click the text, you now have more options. You can change the opacity, you can change the rotation, you can change the letter spacing, and these things are quite nice if you're making a list or if you're making labels for your map. You can change the line height. And one of the really cool things is you can change the curvature. So let's say I want to have Jan's fantasy map at the top here. I can now change the curvature of it like this. Pretty. So that's cool. More options with text. The next thing I want to show you is the path tool. This is a whole new tool that's been added, which you can use to show routes and things like that. So for example, let's say there's a trade route between this point of the island and this lower point of the map. You can display it by using a path. And you can use different colored paths. You can use different type of paths. You can even change the spacing between the gaps like this. Change the width. So this might be interesting to create some maps showing trade routes, borders, paths, things like that. And the last thing that I want to show you is the fact that you now have a little bit more of style control. When you are working in your, let me get rid of this for a second. When you're working with your map, you can now change the style a little bit, and with that I mean the stroke. So you can say I want stroke on or stroke off. You can change the color of the stroke. So let's say you want a little bit of an ocean blue. You can change it like that. It should update in a second. There we go. A little darker. Then you've got outline. What does outline mean? Let's see. Is there like a little line there? Let's see. Oh, let's turn on some opacity. Might help. Oh, thickness. What does outline do? It looks like a stroke. Huh. Yeah, it's like a line, like another stroke that goes more outwards. I guess the stroke goes inward and outwards on the edge of the border. And maybe you can show like continental shelves like this. So if we would make this an ocean color, a little bit lighter like this. It is quite slow, but you can change the editing resolution. Yeah, you could make like continental shelf like this or something like that. Let's turn this off for now, because I also want to show you the ripples. So you've got this cool ripple effect. And if you don't want it, you can just turn it off. Or turn it on. The amount of ripples you can change. And the width of the ripples and the size between ripples, the color of the ripples, and so on and so on. You can change the shadow that the land gives on the background layer. Let's wait till it updates. Come on. Let's save it for 1 second. There we go. It's still updating the ripples. That's why it might be a bit slow at the moment. Yeah, that's one of the things that could be better, but this program is getting quite heavy. There's quite a lot of possibilities at the moment, and I guess it's getting quite browser heavy. I don't know if they will ever make a standalone version, which will make the program much quicker, I guess. But yeah, it's a browser program, and it takes a lot of your, I think, RAM power. So just you have to be a little bit more patient. It's not like Photoshop that's running straight from your computer. It's running from your browser. I want to show you the shadow on the shelf, or I mean on the background, so you can change that. And you can change the shadow on the inside of your land. Like that. And now we've got a real spacey type of thing. You've got this list, like you can choose default. And I guess they will add more presets in the future, or the ability to save your presets. That's what I guess that's this list for, else this list wouldn't make much sense. So that's really cool. And other than that, there's just a lot of new possibilities within the program. The whole layout has changed a little bit. Everything has gotten a little bit more easier to get to. And to sum up my favorite features of Inkarnate Early Access 1.0 is you can choose your aspect ratio when creating a map. You can change the roughness of a brush to create cool land masses. You now have an undo button. You've got cool options when selecting, making selecting much more easy. There's extremely high resolution artwork. There's some text possibilities. We've got a path tool going on, and there's more style control. And all these features combined will make me choose Inkarnate above another program much more. I mean, I'm still gonna make Photoshop maps, but every now and then I'm gonna go to Inkarnate and make a cool map in that. And I think I'm gonna make a tutorial video about that as well. This was not a sponsored video of any kind. It's just my honest opinion about what I think of Inkarnate Early Access 1.0. If you're a pro user of Inkarnate, you can apply for early access. There's more information about that on the Reddit. And yeah, I think 1.0 will come out somewhere in 2020. So looking forward to that. Thank you very much for watching, and see you guys around. Thanks.